Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. I will ride with this group. Seriously, man. Please. And away we go.
All right, he's back in the safe confines of his home studio with a flag, with an official Vikings Gatorade towel. You can wave them all.
Just say the word.
Wave them all.
12 and 2. Here we go. Let's start with a flag.
That's right.
Let's start off simple.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
We're going to start off with a run.
So I'm about to say, do we set up the run with the pass or the pass with the run? What happens here?
Set up the towel with the...
And then we got the towel.
There's the towel.
Got to be careful with the towel.
That's there we go. Okay.
It's not the flag. Towel.
I feel like the play design there was a little crook. Like we couldn't figure out, do we go up? Do we go to the left?
Are the G's upside down? Right? Is it the Vikings logo?
That's an official
Not really
Gatorade
sure.
towel right there, gentlemen.
Yeah, the one that Sam Darnold waves when he gets excited, when the fans start chanting his name. So, yeah, Vikings Vent Line last night was very festive. If you missed it, we had a bunch of fans checking in from the stadium as they were walking out, so that was cool. So go check that out either on the Purple Daily YouTube channel or Apple, Spotify. Before we dive into our live hottest takes episode here, we're going to hit you with two different episodes today of the main Purple Daily because Judd's Pigskin Pecking Order, and we're going to sprinkle in some State of the Offense in there too. It's a short week, so we're kind of cramming some stuff together here. But before we get to our hottest Vikings takes, some glorious Bears Vent Line, a handful of clips. You would think they're just kind of over it at this point. They are definitely not over it in Chicago. Let's talk about the glorious Roku TVs you guys saw off the intro here on the YouTube channel, America's #1 TV streaming platform. They now make their own TVs, a new line of smart TVs made by Roku. Great for sports viewing. I mean, this is with the college football playoffs starting this weekend. We've got NFL playoffs. The Vikings punch their ticket. This could be a great holiday gift for someone, too. Roku.com or a retailer near you. Maybe get one of those Roku Pro Series 4K TVs to fill out your living room like the Mackeys did a couple months ago. Automatically adjust picture quality for sporting events, movies, and whatever you are watching. Roku.com to learn more or a retailer near you. All right. Hottest Vikings takes. Chef Dex has the pie chart today. He's been up all night baking and slicing. Who wants to go first here with their hottest Vikings take? Any takers?
Dex?
I'll take the fastball. I'll take the first pitch here.
You want to go?
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
do it. Let's go. Here we go.
All right, I'll take it. Here's my hottest take. It's kind of two takes in one. It's kind of like a Reese's peanut butter cup of takes. There's chocolate on the outside and peanut butter on the inside. What more could you want, right?
I saw them advertising a new one where it's like peanut butter and then it's like chocolate dripping out kind of the bottom.
God, that sounds
aggressive.
I'm not even a big chocolate guy, and sign me up for that. I mean, if you don't like that, something's wrong.
Yeah, you're anti-American, clearly.
That's right. Here's my hottest take. The Minnesota Vikings do not beat the Bears without Aaron Jones. And he is the biggest X factor for the Vikings in a Super Bowl run.
Okay.
The commitment to Aaron Jones and his effectiveness, I think, is the difference maker for this offense to go on a lengthy playoff run. Sam Darnold likes to hunt down the field. There's weapons all over the place, but sometimes Slingin' Sammy can have some off days. And I think we saw that to a degree yesterday. We didn't see blue screen of death, Sam. There was a couple of those like random shovel passes, which I did like cringe on the couch of like, oh my God, what are you doing? Yeah. But for the most part, even his interception, I didn't hate that pick. There wasn't blue screens of death. He was just off with his accuracy at times. And you know, when Kevin O'Connell loves to commit to the pass, and this is what I think was a little staggering to me. So at one point, the Vikings are up 13-0. They had run 40 offensive plays before they, I believe, punted. 30 of them were passing. Just 10 of them were rushing. And in my opinion, I know they like to hunt, but I do think you have to balance out that ratio a little bit more. And Aaron Jones was having an effective day, and he ends up having a very good day. 18 carries, 86 yards, 4.8 yards per carry. 38 of those yards, by the way, came in the third quarter. So once those adjustments were made by KOC, when he realized, hey, Sam might not have it today, let's commit to the bell cow that is Aaron Jones, I think that was a brilliant move. And yes, he's had some fumbling issues, but he's on pace for another great season. Like Aaron Jones already has 1,300 all-purpose yards in 14 games this season. He can be effective in the pass, which KOC also obviously loves to do. So, yes, we talk about Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson and obviously the state of the tackles and Brian O'Neill going forward. However, I think Aaron Jones, this dude's the biggest X factor. They needed him to beat the Bears, and they need him to be effective. And KOC also has to scheme up ways to commit to the run, but also still keep him involved heavily in the offense for this team to go on a Super Bowl run.
And I think that he could, it will be fun to watch him against his former team, the Packers, in the second to last game of the regular season as well. Wow, elite feet.
He thought it was less of a hot take and more of a lukewarm omelet, apparently.
This has become a very controversial segment based on the fact that people want us to. But remember, when yours truly, after the Jets game, said it's time, it would be time to go to JJ McCarthy. Fans and Declan agreed. Fans were outraged by that. This has become a very, very, because it's very subjective, right? Like, what's a hot take?
Well, you want us to ramp the temperature of the takes up and give as hot of takes as possible. But then, like in Judd's case, Judd says, "Oh, you want a hot take back 2 months ago? Okay, here's a hot take. I know they're 5-0, but they would have benched Sam Darnold for JJ McCarthy." And then you're like, "Whoa, that's crazy talk." Well, wait a second.
You can't say that. They want us to torch the house. Unfortunately, once we do, it's their house, and they're like, "Where are we going to live?"
Yeah, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah,
okay?
Come on.
But I think, the first part of it was that they wouldn't have won the game without Aaron Jones. I think you put that aside. The crux of it is you basically said Aaron Jones is the most important factor for the Vikings winning a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was kind of odd that they stuck. It was like you said, a 3-to-1 pass to run ratio until finally kind of mid-third quarter. Hey, the Bears just aren't allowing these big home run passes down the field that the Vikings have feasted on for weeks. So let's just go steady diet Aaron Jones. And they wind up kind of just pounding the run from the second part of the third quarter all the way through the fourth. He's only 142 yards away from his career high in rushing yards. Mm-hmm. He only has, I say only, he's been a good running back, but he's been in a timeshare basically his whole career.
Right.
Until maybe this year. But his career high is 1,121 in 2022 with the Packers. He's at 979 after last night's game with 3 games to go. So he's likely to set a career high in rushing yards. I keep feeding him, man. Like he as long as he's not fumbling, I feel like he should be getting 18 to 25 carries a game and then maybe a handful of targets in the passing game too.
This comes back to as well, I think, on KO and what he is like. He wants to pass, which is fine. Now, last night, the more I thought about this and the game flow, the more I realized. So Sam Darnold, accuracy-wise, was not great, but he threw a pick, but it was not this egregious, terrible, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" pick. And I think what happened at halftime was KO put all this together, right? He's like, well, we're hunting downfield, but my guy's not super accurate, in part because the Bears are trying to take things away, in part because he just didn't have a great night accuracy-wise, at least in the first half. And then it sort of came together to like be, okay, let's go to the run a little bit more too. But then that helped Darnold because that laser he threw to Jefferson at the 1-yard line was a thing of beauty. Like he threaded that thing right in. So I'm with Dex here. Like, I think the 2 most important things if you're going to win in the playoffs is, one, and hopefully the return of Ivan Pace Jr. helps this, you got to stop the run. But 2, it's not that your run has to be great, but it has to be a weapon. And there was the I think it was on the Jefferson touchdown last night that they had Jones like 2 or 3 runs, play action, touchdown pass. Because why? The Bears had to respect play action. So there's a lot of things here, but it's going to be these last 3 games in the playoffs should be incredibly fun because it's all going to be good teams now, and they're going to adjust, and we're going to find out a lot, like just as far as the in-game coaching and Darnold in these last 3 games and into the playoffs.
Dan Campbell, by the way, lost his mind on Detroit Sports Talk Radio this morning. He was on the ticket. Jim Costa's show on the Ticket, and it was more. He wasn't like mad at the hosts. He was more just like, you win 11 straight games and you lose one and the sky is falling. I got news for everyone. We're not going to win 11 straight games again the rest of the season. Like, mathematically, that is correct. They can't.
You passed the math test.
He's like dropping F-bombs and I don't care, this, that.
He looked
and the hosts are like, oh man.
In his I think it was his Monday press conference, like he looked like a man on the verge of cracking.
But the injuries, I guess, would be the thing that would make you crack. Like losing a football game.
No, not the loss. No, but he's lost his entire defense.
Yeah. Also, you know what? You know what the Lions and their fans are going through right now? Because they never, the last 2 years, they're experiencing something that they haven't, like maybe a little for a minute in the 90s. I think they went to an NFC championship game.
Yeah, but not
in like 91.
This. Yeah.
But just because you are a steamrolling team in the regular season or like the first 3 months of the regular season doesn't guarantee you anything. You aren't entitled to anything once late December and January hits. Well, but these injuries, like, yeah, dude, welcome to every other team's existence. Well, this devastating blown lead in the NFC Championship game. Yeah, guys, like this is how it works. Welcome to relevance and heartbreak.
Well,
which the Vikings have lived in for 60 years.
And this is also sort of how Dan Campbell teams roll, right? Like they play extremely physical, they practice hard, they go hard. Like this is the balancing act of you don't want to run club med, but you don't want to run guys physically into the ground and predispose them to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the place where you're sort of at with some of these things are flukes. Some guys just get, unfortunately get hurt. But I'm willing to bet if you did an in-depth study of a Dan Campbell injury-laden team, you'd find that he basically wore some guys completely down. And it's too long of season, and we're going to 18 games eventually. So yeah, it's interesting.
Although you will get the extra bye maybe if you get the 18 game schedule. Okay, I'll step up to the plate here. I'll let Judd bat clean up. I'll bat in the 2-hole here.
Nice.
You tell me if this is hot enough, okay?
Yeah, got a survey.
Within about, I do believe like we should challenge ourselves to be as hot as possible with our takes. Okay, so I'm not mocking the pushback.
I was ridiculed. I was almost drummed out of town.
Own it. So here's my hottest take this morning. Within 8 to 10 years, it will be 100% obvious. There will be zero doubt about who the greatest head coach in Minnesota Vikings history is, and it will be Kevin O'Connell. It's going to take like a decade because Bud Grant, legend for 15 years, whatever. But in 8 to 10 years, so give him like a decade, there will be zero doubt who the best coach in Vikings history is. KOC. First off, I think he's going to deliver the first Super Bowl championship in franchise history. And I'm kind of on the record saying 2026, J.J. McCarthy's second year as starter, get this thing rolling down the tracks. But if you just want to look at some of the early data returns here, he's now 32-16 in the regular season as Vikings head coach. That 667 regular season winning percentage is by far the best in Vikings history. It's the fourth best among active NFL head coaches' career records. Nick Sirianni is actually number one. They win 70% of their regular season games under Nick Sirianni. Matt LaFleur and Jim Harbaugh are the only three coaches that have a better regular season win percentage career than Kevin O'Connell. Smaller sample size than some of the other ones, but he's literally ahead of Andy Reid, Sean McVay. Now, Reid's put in 25 years of sample, so maybe it evens out in some of these years. But the other thing is, if you dig deep within the 32-16, he has a 12-2 record with Sam Darnold as his starting quarterback. All other coaches are 21-35 with Sam Darnold as the starting quarterback. KOC is 17-8 with Kirk Cousins as his starting quarterback. All other coaches are exactly 500 with Kirky Boy under center. He was 2-2 with Josh Dobbs as his starting quarterback. All other coaches are 1-9 with Josh Dobbs behind center as the starting quarterback. So he's 32-16 with mostly dudes who were written off as either career backups or busts. And then Kirk Cousins, who every other coach for a decade, from Jay Gruden to Mike Zimmer to Atlanta, Raheem Morris, and they're of course exactly 500 now, 7-7 after winning last night. He has elevated all of these teams and all of these quarterbacks. Imagine if and when you get this dude a stud, top 5, top 6. If J.J. McCarthy is what the Vikings think he can be, they're winning a Super Bowl at some point, maybe multiple, in the next 8 to 10 years. I think KOC is that good of a head coach.
It's hard to argue with it. I mean, he's done a fantastic job. He's had, 13 wins his first year. He's on track to who knows what, 15, 14, 13 again. So, yeah, I think that he is so impressive just from a standpoint of his post-game speeches, of his clearly, that as Dukes talks about, the night before games. I mean, and his work with QBs. Like, I had the field glasses out last night. I'm watching the sideline. It's a QB school down there. You've got Rippon, you've got Mullins, you've got Darnold, you've got Jonesy. McCarthy, I'm sure, is around. Like, he literally has collected, he is collecting QBs, and the thing about it is, it's not just for fun. Like, Daniel Jones is not here because he couldn't find a job. Daniel Jones is here because he is the latest disciple. He wants to join the club. So, yeah, it's extremely impressive.
Yeah, he's checked himself in willingly. He could have gone out. He could have been starting for the Raiders last night on Monday Night Football against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, where he's like, I think what's better for my career is to just take
Ed
5.
Foley's accusing me of 9:21 a.m. Listen, Ed, I was at the game.
What
I wasn't
what is he
watching
talking?
TV. I have no idea. Oh, they probably showed a graphic about what I'm talking about, which is the QB school that is going on.
Oh, well, they showed the 5 quarterbacks under contract right now.
Come on, Ed, give me some credit. I had the field glasses out.
Yeah, they showed like the 5 guys who are in quarterback rehab, and then quarterback coach Josh McCown, who they said, if you just gave that dude a helmet, he'd probably fit right in. Just 41-year-old Josh McCown or whatever he is.
Might not be wrong.
Sitting in that room.
If you granted KO one wish and said, okay, dude, here's the deal. For one game, you can play. He'd do it.
KO or Josh?
Play. No. KO would. Oh, I think Josh is done. Josh played a ton of football. KO.
Well, I think we're seeing like the way that he gets the light bulb to turn on for some of these guys, and so like with a Josh Dobbs, it can only go on. It flickers, like it can only go on so bright.
Right.
And then there's a reason why he's been 1-9 with all these other coaches. But with Sam Darnold, it's like, okay, yeah, that was a former top 3 overall pick, and KOC has just spent 6 months training him, what to look for,
like
the
Rocky.
play designs, everything. I mean, yeah, Mick, maybe
like
Mick
Rocky.
wasn't the greatest boxer, but you give him a Rocky Balboa. Give him a talented Italian stallion. Yeah.
I think the thing with Dobbs too was that was because he was foisted upon O'Connell, right? In season, there was no time to work. I mean that Falcons game was great fun, but the reality was there was really no time to coach him up. Like they were going week to week. I think Darnold is showing you what O'Connell can accomplish with a runway that is lengthy.
Yeah, dude, it is. I mean, it's a cooking show, and all right, KOC. So you have 30 minutes to cook a gourmet meal, and then Andy Reid is over. Andy Reid, you get 30 minutes to cook a gourmet meal. Andy Reid, you get filet Patrick Mahomes. Okay, KOC, you're gonna get Salisbury steak and some apples. And some horseradish. Figure it out in a 9-iron. No knives.
But
you have to figure it out.
Darnold was a decent steak, and the Jets just absolutely screwed that up. The Panthers are like, give us the steak. We'll take it. It's charred beyond belief.
How many, but a fun exercise would be like, how many of these ingredients, quarterbacks, if we started listing every quarter, I mean, obviously there's 15 or 20 that are like established. But if you started to go down the rest of the list, Bryce Young, for instance, and he's shown some flashes the last couple months. Mm-hmm. How deep would the list of quarterbacks be that KOC could get if you gave him a full off season and you gave him 17 games as a starter? How many of them would be able to throw for all of a sudden there's a 4,000-yard pass? Oh, Sam Howell stopped taking sacks and throws for 4,500 yards now. Like, how long is that list?
Well, it's him. So if you go down the list of coaches, that if you were to drop your QB off at QB daycare,
yes,
and the list of coaches that you trust to watch your QB, LaFleur, McVay, O'Connell, Shanahan, I think is very fair, right? McDaniel probably. But, I mean, it's not a huge list. I mean, look, we saw last night, again, what happens when a quarterback with talent doesn't get the right cultivation.
So real quick, back to my question to you. If you gave KOC Cooper Rush, you get 6 months in the offseason and you get 17, he's going to be healthy for 17 games. Does Cooper Rush become a top 15, top 12 quarterback in the NFL?
I don't think so. I think KO is very deliberate with what he sees. It's why he doesn't want quarterbacks he deems not to be his guys in the building. Like, keep in mind too, the smartest thing he did was continually in the draft for 2 years say, nah, not drafting him. And the Vikings are like, why not? You got to draft a quarterback at some point. And he's like, no, I don't. I'm going to draft one I like.
And that's where Daniel Jones is fascinating because he was, by the way, I do think he could turn Cooper Rush into a 4,000-yard passer. But like Daniel Jones was the 6th overall pick. And I don't think he's going to get the full, like Darnold got the gold level package where you're going to, not only are you going to be here for the entire offseason, you're going to start the whole year. Right. And then we're going to make you a rich, rich man. You're going to get $120 million at the end of this process.
Right.
Daniel Jones, if he comes back next year, probably sits behind J.J. McCarthy unless there's an injury, like Sam Darnold did with the silver package under Kyle Shanahan behind Brock Purdy last year, which would then vault him into like a 1-year bridge quarterback deal in 2026 probably for Daniel Jones, and then maybe after that his career's back on track.
But the environment's so good too, like the entire environment here because there's such a priority put on the position. Think about like just behind the scenes from a film standpoint. That QB room is filled with guys, not all who are great, but they're all passionate about it. And I'm willing to bet as I looked through the field glasses last night and saw all of those QBs, just a collection of QBs.
Just spinning the ball in their hand.
He's watching things and talking to McCown, and then he talks to Darnold. I think a guy like that probably wants to coach.
Oh, you're already ending Rippon's career?
It's over anyway. But I think guys like that want to coach too. Is
that your hottest take, that Brett Rippon is about to be a top 5 NFL head coach?
He's about to get interviewed by the Houston Texans. No, because
he's going to get the Bears job?
No, but I do think Caleb last night, I think people are starting to question him, and the demeanor is weird. But all of that being said, I think we're right back to what O'Connell says, which is teams fail young quarterbacks far more than young QBs. I mean, look at what Caleb was doing last night. Happy feet, running around like crazy.
The whole thing where he's like on the bench, like,
yes,
it's so hot.
Do you think that crap happens here?
I think Caleb, there's one word to describe Caleb. I'm going to spell it out for you. SAWFT. Soft. All right, Joe, what is your hottest Vikings take?
Okay, this guy deserves credit last night. Last 2 games, I feel like he has flashed. I feel like he's being cultivated correctly. I don't think that he is a bust. I think that he is a work in progress. But Dallas Turner will be in the Pro Bowl next season and will be an all pro within 2 years.
You've seen enough.
I love what he brings, and again, much like with the quarterbacks, I think he is being cultivated correctly. Instead of being thrown in, look, Greenard's phenomenal. Van Ginkel doesn't get to the quarterback as much now because I think he's banged up, but he's still creating havoc. There was time to learn here, There was time to allow Turner room to grow. There was definitely some growing to do. Brian Flores knows exactly what that looks like. But we're starting to see these late season flashes now, man. He's coming in, playing a little bit more, creating havoc. That speed. I mean, I'll go back to what we talked about when he was drafted in the spring. He's got some of those Micah Parsons traits.
Yeah.
You know, he really does.
Or he'll get by a tackle, and it's like the tackle barely touched him because he's got one hand on the turf while he's going underneath the block. Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily overpower you, but he beats your ass with speed. So I think he is a Pro Bowl player next season. I think he is an all-pro player within a couple of years. And I think all this talk about, he's not playing enough, there's trouble here, is unfounded.
After combing through a bunch of Bears post-game shows last night to bring you Bears Vent Line here shortly, there was a couple different shows that were like, this right tackle, I think he's like a third-round pick kind of project guy, and they're just like, they're out, like the Score 670 did a big thing this morning on how, like, this dude he's not qualified to play right tackle, and that may or may not be true. I'm not following the Bears' offensive line depth as closely as maybe they are, but Dallas Turner started that conversation on Chicago Sports Talk Radio about, like, whether that right tackle is even an NFL player. And that was a crazy pass rush move. Just beats him off the line
like that,
and kind of like he kind of dismisses I think it was the right hand of the right tackle, and he just swats it and goes underneath it. And it's like, whoa, okay, yeah, more of that, please, going forward here. And by the way, if they're going to unleash him after the one-on-one sort of come to Jesus talk with Brian Flores last week, if he's being unleashed in bigger doses for the stretch run against the Packers, the Lions, and the playoffs, I mean, they're kind of adding him to the mix maybe late in the season.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think part of it is probably Van Ginkels is worn down. Like he's been on the injury report of late. He still makes plays, but he's definitely banged up. Mm-hmm. So if you can bring in for the playoffs, a fresh Dallas Turner with that speed, offensive linemen can't, like, that is, if you go from Van Ginkel and Greenard just basically, I mean, he's phenomenal, but he's going to kick your ass, right? And now it's Turner who's going to beat you with his speed. We can't sleep on as much as we rightfully so credit KO. You know, the amount of teaching that goes on that defensive side of the ball is damn impressive too.
Yeah. Yep. It's the Vikings will be fortunate if Brian Flores comes back in 2025 as the coordinator, because that dude is awesome at his job. So those are the hottest Vikings takes. You can debate whether the temperature was too lukewarm or not. We will continue to self-evaluate the temperature of our hottest takes. We do have some Bears Vent Line coming up here. We've got a pie chart of praise from Chef Dex, but let's shout out Finch Home Solutions here. I don't think it's a hot take to say that Finch Home Solutions is the best in the business.
Absolutely not. In fact, their trucks this morning, look at that, bright and early, every Finch truck going out, and they are going out to make sure that your house is safe and sound from any electrical point of view. Finch Home Solutions has the answers. No project is too big. No project is too small. So if you are, let's say, just need an outlet change from a 2-prong to a 3-prong, Finch, Cody, and his team are there. If you need your kitchen, you're redoing it, and all of the wiring has to be redone. Guess what? Finch can do that. Again, absolutely the best in the business, as Phil said. And right now, an offer special for all PD faithful, 10% off all work, plus 1 year Finch Friends and Family membership with a qualifying project. You get priority dispatch, annual safety checks, 10% discount on all future work. 612-357-2604. FinchHomeSolutions.com. FinchHomeSolutions.com. They love two things. They love the Vikings, and they love doing electrical work, and they want to help you out. FinchHomeSolutions.com.
What's going on Underdog here today, Dex?
Yeah, you can go on Underdog, promo code SCORE for a 50% deposit match. You can have those tokens and profit boosts ready to when they drop in there. Plus, breaking news. You know, if you don't, so I don't put the X notifications on for certain people. You know, I don't like those, but with an Underdog, they'll just kind of have everything aggregated for you. Get a nice little text that, hey, someone's out, hey, you got this going on. So you're always updated from our friends at Underdog beyond just playing pick'ems and doing fantasy sports. You can get in on those actions to an NBA, NHL, but new users still get a 50% sign-up match when they sign up with promo code SCORE at Underdog.
Also, Federated Insurance, we appreciate them. Help keeping this a daily Viking show here, Purple Daily. It's like having a great offensive line for your business. Federated's been around for over 100 years, focused on safety, preventing claims, and risk management so you can stay focused on growing your business. You can find a full list of industries Federated specializes in at federatedinsurance.com. Minnesota-based, but all 50 states represented. It's a national company, too, so if you are outside the state of Minnesota as a business owner, check them out, federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. Okay, boys. You would think that by now they would just be kind of numb to it all. Not even just for this year, but year after year. It's funny, like walking around the plaza, and maybe you saw this in the stadium last night, Judd. A lot of Bears fans still dressing up like Mike Ditka from the 80s because that's the last time that they were truly proud of their football team. You know, like imagine going, like the Vikings have had their own problems, don't get me wrong. And the Bears have been to a Super Bowl 20 years ago. But like they're clinging to the 80s, like even like the late 80s.
They won a Super Bowl, man.
Yeah,
that was it.
So they still have some fire in the tank here, just combing through Chicago sports media. So let's do a little tour of Bears Vent Line.
That team's horrible, poorly coached, poorly put together, and players making just ridiculous mistakes all night long.
Cap.
Yeah.
I like
the recap YouTube channel, man.
I like the branded jacket he had on there too, with his own little show.
Yeah, and the nice little thing behind him, his name and lights. Nice. That's
Do you think we
nice.
could replace the the white plastic bobblehead holder there with maybe some LED lights behind you there, Judd?
No, that's not going to happen.
No, okay.
There'll be no Judd lights.
It's weird to say, but I miss Eberflus. The games were at least entertaining to watch. It was hard on your heart, but at least we were in the game. These last few games have just been such blowouts. It's not been very entertaining. And we could have Ben Johnson or whoever we want as the next head coach, but we have a lot of changes that we need to make on the personnel issue to be a lot better. Thanks for taking my call.
Kyle, thank you. I think Kyle brings up a great point that the first half of the season, 2/3 of the season exposed the coaching, and now the roster has been exposed.
Well, I mean, it exposed the coaching up to the point where the players weren't going to listen to the coaches anymore.
Yeah.
I think that's what we found out there. Eberflus and his fancy hair are not here to get picked on anymore.
Sure.
Okay.
ESPN,
Hold on.
$1,000.
Hold on. That is a guy who has been in radio his entire life, and then someone, says we need to put video cameras on, and he said, "Okay, but I'm not stopping putting this big leg up here and this gun out, and I'm relaxing from here, and I don't care what I look like." That dude's pose. Oh, I love that.
Was he wearing pants?
I think so. I think he had shorts on.
Okay.
Shorts. That's John Jerkovich, right?
That's Jerko. Yeah.
Jerko, yeah, who played for the Bears.
Yeah, he
is a former. Yes, he played for the Bears. He played for. He was a defensive tackle for the Packers, the Jaguars, the Browns, the Bears.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was for a long time. It was the Carmen and Jerko show.
Yeah.
Right, and then so Carmen is now here. Play another clip. Carmen is the guy that you're going to see here. Actually, he might not be on camera, but he's with CHGO in Chicago. Let's hear from them next.
Look, if we're gonna sit through a 8-game losing streak and continue to do these shows for the next, let's see, including this one, we got 4 left, right?
3 left. Down to 3, buddy.
Well, including this one, we have 4.
Oh, including this one, yes, correct. Okay, yep.
Respect the one shot.
Sure. Sorry.
Um,
My bad. You asked a question.
My point is, we're gonna have to have some fun here along the way. We're have to keep it light. The Doug Kramer failing to report eligible might be the funniest thing I've seen in 14 years covering this team.
I like that line. Respect the one shot.
Yeah.
Respect the one shot.
That was the Declan of that show, trying to figure out the math on the fly and being like, well,
Respect
no.
the one shot here.
Respect
the one shot.
Everyone be quiet. Quiet on set.
Is it 3 weeks? Is it 4?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, at this point, it doesn't matter anymore.
All right, let's go back to the ESPN 1000 studios here, back to our guy Jerko.
I saw better play, really. I saw better field knowledge, at least running-wise, with Justin Fields. So can somebody just please take a good look at this guy and only give him 3 years? That's all you gave Justin Fields. Just give him 3. If he's doing the same stuff he's doing now, well, looks like we made another big, you know the word I'm thinking of.
Mess up, yeah.
But before the word mistake, there's another word that starts with F, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want anyone to get into trouble, but I'm going to hang up and then I'm going to scream it.
Okay. The swiveling that Jerko was doing there in his chair, completely bored. He is clearly not like, I'm going to give a hot take. He's clearly like just pulling in a paycheck for this show
Get
right
me
now.
through to the next commercial break,
and we
so
did
I can get some more coffee.
And December football brings a lot of intriguing things, because one, it brings some great games, right? Like the good games are great games. There's a lot of really, really bad because they're hopeless games. And then you've got the games like last night, good team against bad team, where not only are the players on the bad team making business decisions, but they also decide that if they like go down sometimes, they're like, I'm not getting back up. Like you saw some Bears last night. Oh, looks like the training staff is coming out. And then the guy's just like walks off the field. I'm done for the night.
There was a couple times where Caleb was down and you're like, is he conscious or is he just dreading the next play in the next moment?
He might be checking out.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to our guy Cap here. Cap's the Recap YouTube channel. Let's hear from him one last time.
Doug Kramer did not report as eligible when he went in at fullback. Let me say that again. A professional player who's played the position before, we all remember his fumble earlier in the season. Guess what? This time, he did not report as eligible. And if he dares to say, well, I told the official, ABC's cameras went back and watched him, never went near an official. He should be cut tomorrow. You want to make a statement? Guess what? You know, unless you're an idiot, you know you have got to report as eligible at that position. Make a statement tomorrow. Doug Kramer's been released. Enough is freaking enough.
Oh, I love it.
Just cut his ass to send a message. Keep firing people.
Doug Kramer postgame said, the play. I came in and the play clock was winding down. He's like, I just completely forgot to tell the official.
Oh, man.
I just forgot. Sorry,
and you
guys.
know what would fix the Bears? If you cut his ass today to send a message.
So here's what really hurts. So if you looked behind Cap, he's got a huge Chicago Tribune posted in a picture frame. It's Jim Thome, and I think that is the home run against the Twins.
163.
Against Nick Blackburn?
In 163.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're even being trolled as we're trying to troll.
I think ultimately, I think we have the trolling advantage here, just like right now in this moment.
Think about being a Chicago.
He can have the other game 163 memory because we got one the next year. Nobody remembers the first game 163 except for apparently like his framed photo of Jim Thome.
Think about being a Chicago sports fan right now. Bears, awful. Blackhawks, awful.
Bulls, the Cubs are good for another 100, so they're fine.
They could be formidable.
They might be, but they're still disappointing. And the White Sox are a train wreck.
You know what though? When you have a dynasty for an entire decade and one of the greatest athletes of all time in the 90s, you can stand to go 25. You guys can just sit this one out for 25 years.
Blackhawks won three cups?
Yeah.
10 years.
Well, yeah.
You guys are fine. They're fine.
They're fine.
I'm just saying,
Cubs
right
won
now,
a World Series. Yeah, they're fine. Chicago
right
is
now,
fine.
you think
They
by
won like
accident
5 titles.
Okay, in Declan's life, Bulls have 6, Cubs have 1, White Sox have 1. That's 8. And then 3 more for the Blackhawks. That's 11 titles in Declan's lifetime.
But he wouldn't remember the Bulls at all, right?
I remember tail end of Michael Jordan. Yes, I remember the tail end of
Michael
that.
Jordan.
But my point
tail
is
end of Michael Jordan wasn't great.
They've had championships. They've had multiple double-digit championships,
they're
and I'm
Blackhawks,
32 and haven't seen one. Haven't seen one
I'm
of the men's
sympathizing with our guy
championships.
Cap. All I'm saying is I'm sympathizing with Cap, just a little bit.
I think you need to stop being a Chicago sports sympathizer right now.
Have a little bit of
God no.
Well, the Bears being bad's hilarious. So
it is because they keep making the same.
Yeah.
They keep entering like the same bad relationship. They go to therapy and then I'm not going to repeat my behavior, and then they do, and then
The Bears are funny.
yes.
All right, I think it's time for old Chef Dex to carve up a
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
pie chart of praise here, off a 30-12 Vikings win last night.
All right, I have. Let's see here. 1, 2. Do the math here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 slices of pie.
Okay.
6 slices of pie. I do know they added up. I've added it up like 7 times, like Judd likes to do. I've made sure the math is correct. But yes, 6 slices of pie here in this pie chart of praise. We'll start from the bottom, work our way up. Smallest chunk, but chunk that I think needs to be addressed. He wasn't on the field yesterday, but 5% to Randy Moss. You can't tell me that team was not inspired by Randy Moss and also Chris Carter and Jake Reed coming out there with the jersey of his. I mean, that was awesome. The Jefferson touchdown. I had another hot take. The game kind of fizzled out a little bit, but that was an emotional touchdown. Jefferson screaming into the camera, "This one's for you, Randy." That we just talked about championships, and instead, we have athletes that we all gravitated towards and look up to. Randy Moss, Kevin Garnett are probably the figureheads, 1 and 2 of the guys that in my formidable young years as becoming a Minnesota sports fan is the first 2 dudes that I think of. And Randy Moss obviously had played a huge role here. Maybe it's too small, just 5%, but he deserves a chunk of pie here. He deserves to be addressed, so he does get the first slice of pie.
And I think that I saw a clip this morning on Twitter that was posted, I think post-game or SVP last night with O'Connell, saying that was his idea. It was O'Connell's idea, he said, to bring in Carter and Reed, which was an awesome idea. No, I like that. I only hope now that the Vikings finally retire 84.
Yeah, I know NFL teams are stingy because the rosters are so huge. They don't but now that you can wear whatever, for a while it was receivers can only wear numbers in the 80s, so you got to be careful. Now that anyone can pretty much wear any number, retire it. Just retire 84.
Yeah, and I'm not advocating for mass retirement of numbers. The Ring of Honor is very cool, and they have a very small group of numbers that are out of circulation. I just think that Randy deserves that.
Yeah, he rises above the Ring of Honor.
Right.
He helped change the game. I mean, he's one of the greatest players to ever play his position, and you always hate if something happens or someone gets sick, passes away, ages out, whatever it is, and oh man, in retrospect, we probably should have. Yeah, probably should have.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
All right, second slice of pie, a 10% chunk here. We'll give it to Will Reichard. He made all of his kicks. 6 for 6. He was 3 for 3 for field goals, 3 for 3, easy for me to say.
Free
on
3.
His extra point, 3 free. For Will Reichard, though, he made all of his kicks. Go up there, do your job, pal. He does it well. So Will Reichard gets a chunk of pie here. Those 2 field goals obviously helped things out going into the half. So he does get a slice of pie, but it's 10% on this pie chart of praise.
My favorite thing now is on the occasions in the post-game locker room speech where Kevin O'Connell, this is probably the 3rd time he gave Will Reichard a game ball, and he's going through the game balls and he's firing up the troops. And here's a guy who had a sack and 5 tackles for Jonathan Greenard. He just went through a war for 3 hours. And here's another guy over here. It's like these battle-tested, road-weary soldiers that are getting these game balls with like tape hanging from their body, blood, sweat. And here's a guy, we're going to need him to knock home some game winners. And it's like a junior high math student comes walking out in a Vikings uniform. Thanks, coach. He grabs the ball.
Coach. And here's a guy that just got done playing 18 holes, but he's really good at the dude looks, you're right. He looks like he's 12.
Yeah, do you think
you're exactly right?
How often do you think he shaves? Like, do you think Declan we make fun of for having kind of a baby face, but has Will Reichert ever shaved?
Declan looks like a chiseled old man compared to Will. So my guess is no.
I mean, I am 9 years older than him, so like I would kind of hope so. Even though with my baby face, like I'm not denying you guys are not correct here, but yeah, I mean this is a.
I don't think he's going to grow a stash like that,
No. He does have a dog named Vinny though, I believe, and it's a golden doodle. So like we got that going for us.
Yeah,
you guys are like big
a little doggy hangout session sometime maybe. When the season winds down.
The Rock knows how you feel.
Third chunk of pie here. We'll give to another individual player. I think this would have been higher if the drop doesn't happen, but I'm giving 15% to Justin Jefferson. So 13 targets, 7 receptions, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. Yes, it was a drop that didn't spiral the game, but obviously would have changed the game if he catches that and puts it in for 6 points. But I think this is more of a pie chart of praise for, again, the presence of what Justin Jefferson brings. They showed, obviously, all the highlights of him being bracketed, him being doubled, just what he's able to do for the rest of the offense. I still think it trickles down for success still, even though the costly drop was there. And I think that's probably the black eye, what people are kind of sadly remembering about this game. We just talked about the awesome touchdown he gave and tribute to Randy Moss. But I think his presence still is worthy of a pie chart of praise. So 15% to Justin Jefferson.
I'm in awe of the drop because it was so shocking.
It was.
It's almost a compliment. It's almost a compliment because you saw the drop and then you just sort of stared and you're like, what?
The hell was that?
I've never, through the TV anyways, I've never heard a crowd make that sound before.
Yeah.
Like maybe only if they see like a gruesome injury or something, and it's like, oh, and you can hear everyone kind of like, oh, did you see that? Oh, what happened?
It's the reverse positive pop. It's the exact opposite because it's a pop. It's like,
and it was a pop, and then it was like a buzz, but it was a different kind of a buzz. It was people you could literally hear like,
no, you're right.
Oh my gosh, what happened? Have you ever seen that before?
Based on one single drop, the buzz itself came out of that stadium instantly, and it took a while to come back.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It affected the entire first half after that.
Yeah. All right. Okay, 15 to Jefferson. Okay.
All right. Next slice of pie here. We'll go with another individual slice. 20% to Jonathan Greenard. So I don't think we even really have talked about him much here on this show, but he had an insane game. He had a career-high 7 pressures. He was obviously all over the rookie left tackle there. Probably didn't stand a chance against one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. He has 56 pressures now, according to NFL Next Gen Stats. That's the 9th most in the NFL. He had a big sack. He's just wreaking havoc all over the damn place. He was a noticeable player for the Vikings. They said goodbye to Danielle Hunter. They replaced him with Jonathan Greenard, and he's obviously better. Like it's insane to watch this now kind of unfold and watch him just be the maybe linchpin for Brian Flores' defense. I mean, he's just been getting after the quarterback week in and week out, but he had a very big day individually too. So he gets a big chunk of pie here, 20%.
It's crazy because pressures are sort of a subjective scouting. There's like some gray area there, and like Next Gen has their number. PFF actually gives him 66 on the season, which is 3rd most behind just Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett. So there's like 12 or 13 that are maybe in a gray area, but no matter how you slice it, he's been one of the top 5 to 10 edge rushers in the entire NFL with some household names like Micah Parsons and Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson and some other guys.
Is he the MVP of this defense? I mean, there's a lot of guys who.
Well, Blake Cashman has been they are undefeated when Blake Cashman plays. In terms of like the numbers and the things that you see, the sexy pressures and sacks. I mean, Greenard, yes. But there's something about Cashman's presence too, as a cog that has been.
Yep.
I mean, they have the number 1 scoring defense in the league when Blake Cashman plays.
And the Greenard sack last night ruined Caleb's night. Caleb was actually
the strip sack you talking about?
The strip sack. Well, and just the hit.
The hit was a hell of a hit. Yeah.
The hit rocked him. Like he's a guy I think that gets driven to a really bad place. Like that's not a hit that he can forget. And that hit just changed his night completely. He was never the same. I think the fact that guy started to scramble at times with no pressure was always went back to that hit.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing that all season too, but yeah, it was just.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Yeah, he needs a coach. He needs a coach.
2 more slices of pie here, another 20% chunk. We're going to give 20% to Brian Flores. So obviously a great day at the office for Brian Flores, just 284 yards of offense for the Bears. No third downs until like late in this game. I mean, they didn't convert a third down. And in fact, the 2 pivotal 4th down stops, like, I mean, those are 4th down 1 and 2. Like, you'd like to think laws of average, like the Bears are probably going to get at least one of those. No. And Flores was flustering him all night long. I saw this stat from Next Gen Stats in the first half. Caleb Williams' average depth of target in the first half was 0.1 yard. Not a yard. not a full yard.
Wow.
0.1 yard. And that is not just because Caleb Williams is struggling this series necessarily. That's a confusing defense to try to read, and Flores knows how to really rattle a rookie quarterback. So Flores was cooking all day long. This was not a problem for the Vikings defense. So he gets a big chunk of pie here, 20% to Brian Flores.
That's a great nugget.
The Rock knows how you feel about pie.
Check down.
Even Bo Nix, I think, pushes further than 0.1 yards, man.
Yeah. So
rough. Last piece of pie here. I mentioned in my hottest take, I'm going to give him the biggest slice of pie. So 30% to Aaron Jones. 106 yards on the 20 touches. He was the offense. He helped set the tone. He was the binky when the baby was fussy. I mean, that was the Vikings offense. The offense was a little fussy. They wouldn't go nine-nine. They wouldn't just, hey, let's figure this out here and let's have a nice night. You give up Aaron Jones, you put that binky in, things are going to be right okay. So Aaron Jones, in my opinion, gets the biggest slice of pie here. I understand Brian Flores was great. You could make a case Flores does deserve more of a chunk of pie and the biggest slice, but I'm going to give it to Aaron Jones, who kind of helped put the game away for the Vikings. So 30% to Aaron Jones. That wraps up the pie chart of praise. Brian Flores gets 20%, Greenard 20%, Jefferson 15%, Will Reichard 10%, Randy Moss 5%.
Love it.
The Rock knows how you feel.
And I know we're kind of up against the clock here because we got to record a scoop session with Doogie, who is perusing the locker room after that game. So you can check that out on the Score North YouTube channel later today and the Mackie and Judd podcast feed. We will do a round of nitpicks here in a second. Not much to nitpick at Park Tavern, though. That's just an awesome place to hang out, watch sports, eat food.
Zero. In fact, the official sports bar of the Sports Dad, located in my neck of the woods right here in St. Louis Park, corner of Louisiana Avenue South and Highway 7. And let me tell you how you can give the gift to Park Tavern, because Park Tavern's a great place, open 365 days a year. And right now, you can get gift cards, and there's a deal. Buy a $100 gift card at Park Tavern, get a $25 value gift card for free. That's right, for free. And also, New Year's Eve, if you're looking for plans, Park Tavern has a bash with Cosmic Bowling, 9:30 to close. That is an absolutely great time. Check them out, parktavern.net, parktavern.net. And if you have a group gathering, Park Tavern also is the place to go. Parktavern.net, check them out. Perhaps you will see the Sports Dad at his official sports bar.
Oh, perhaps. Maybe we can get the Sports Dad over to Woodhouse Spas. Maybe we can maybe take the whole show over.
My back's a little sore. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, a little deep tissue. Well, they have over 70 spa services at the 3 locations, Maple Grove, Woodbury, and Rosedale Center. And whether it's for you or maybe for a loved one, maybe you're late on a holiday gift, for a spouse, for your mom, or anyone on your list, a gift card to Woodhouse Spas could be the answer. Gift cards available in-store, in spa, Maple Grove, Woodbury, Rosedale Center, or at woodhousespas.com. Tell them that Purple Daily sent you in. Again, over 70 spa services. So you could send your wife, your girlfriend, your mom off to spa bliss at Woodhouse Spas. Let's go around the room. When the Vikings win, we give you nitpicks. When they lose, which is apparently rarely, we give you silver linings. So, Joe, what is your nitpick from last night?
This guy's gotten deservedly a lot of praise since he arrived from Jacksonville, but it was a rough night last night. My nitpick is Cam Robinson. An illegal formation penalty, 3 false starts. That's right. Count them, 4 penalties in the same game. You can do that against the Bears. You cannot do that in important games. The discipline there is incredibly important. Cam now has 7 penalties in 7 games as a Viking. If you go back to his Jacksonville time, 10 on the season. He needs to clean that up for these next 3 games. That's the type of thing against the Bears. It's fine. It doesn't cost you a game, but you cannot be giving up field position because of needless pre-snap penalties.
The lining up thing, I get, sometimes you're going to hold or whatever, but man, when you get a 15-yard chunk and it gets blown dead or it gets flagged and sent back 5 yards because you couldn't look over to the belt line of the guard and move up a half step. Like,
and that one, he was way too far back. Like, he got nailed, rightfully so. Yeah. That can be ticky-tack at times, but not that one.
I would say it's more of an injury nitpick, but Brian O'Neill, I know he came back and he doesn't sound too concerned. And in fact, I think he was the one leading the breakdown in the locker room after KOC's speech.
Yep.
And he told everyone, get your bodies right. It's a short week. Well, he's talking to himself more than anybody. I'm a little worried about, you've already lost your left tackle. And Cam Robinson's been a good fill-in. He's not Christian Darrisaw.
Correct.
We saw those penalties like you mentioned. But if Brian O'Neill is in danger of being out and now you got Quessenberry over there, the offensive line, there's like a February-March conversation to be had about how you really take this thing to the next level with McCarthy stepping in. But it would just be a shame if you're 12-2 and you're looking to maybe win out and Brian O'Neill is also like struggling to stay in a game because of his knee. So
can't lose.
Little nervous about that.
Mm-hmm. Mine would be just the damn Sam Darnold shovel passes when pressure and death is in his face. Just we used to tell Kirk, hold on to that puppy and just go down. Sam, sometimes, man, it's okay. I know sacks stink, and you don't want them to happen in the deep red when you're in field goal range or knocking on the door of scoring 6. But dude, just hold on the ball, go down. That one where he threw it to Aaron Jones, like literally shoveled past it. I cringed on the couch and was up on the ceiling by the time the play was whistled dead. Like, please stop doing that. We don't need to do that.
I'll give you another like little Darnold thing. And again, he's been largely excellent, but he sometimes, whether it's edge of field goal range or there was a sequence toward the end of it was like 10 seconds to go in the first half. When KOC is trusting him, do not take a sack. I'm going to call a pass play. We don't have any timeouts. In the case of the end of the first half, it was 3rd down and no timeouts. And now Chicago was offsides, but he takes that sack. And now it's 4th down, 6, 5, and he's like trying to organize a spike. It's like, no, you can't spike it either because it's 4th down. So I worry a little bit that he just maybe he's a little rusty in some of those situations where, like, dude, you can't take a sack. You have to get rid of the football. And also you have to know that no timeouts, 3rd down into 4th down. Like, just some of these, you rack up enough reference points after 3, 4, 5 years as a starter. And, he hasn't started in bulk in a few years. So I'll give him a little bit of benefit of the doubt.
The playoffs are going to be really intriguing from that standpoint, too. Like, because it all gets ratcheted up. He makes some decisions where you're like, whoa. Like you can tell how much O'Connell is trying to work with Sam at times. But there are certain in-game situations where the quarterback just has to be relied on to make the right decision, and it gets a little bit skittish at times with Sam.
Yep. So, all right, boys, your hottest Vikings takes, your Bears vent line, Chef Dex with a pie chart, some nitpicks here, and then we're going to give you another episode because Judd has ranked the top 10 teams currently in the NFL. Where do the Vikings rank?
The top 5 are, we got some changes.
If the playoffs started today, what would the NFC bracket look like, and a little state of the offense too? So be on the lookout. Purple Daily YouTube channel. Click that subscribe button and the like button if you're new here or if you haven't already. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. See you guys.